What is going on, Guardians? Ember here with another one for you, and today we are so back.
Classic! We are back!
Alright, all jokes aside, we are going to be going over 3 Warlock builds that I think you can take into the new Onslaught activity day 1 and come out with tons and tons of rewards. These are proven builds that go hard. Now before we get into it, let's head down below this video, absolutely obliterate that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment if you do enjoy this video. Let me know which one of these 3 builds you like best. In fact, I have my ideas, but I'd love to hear from you. I want to keep these builds short and sweet, so I'm going to keep information like the aspects and fragments and the armor mods, the artifact mods, all that good stuff. I'm going to throw those up in their own individual little boxes right at the beginning of each of the builds, so that way we can pay attention to what exactly we're looking for as in terms of the stat distributions and things like that for these builds, but I'm not going to go over that individually here. Now, after having said all that, after getting all that out of the way, let's get to it. Now, first up is a build that is one of my favorites of all time. I keep this build ready and waiting just for any time I need to lock down some areas in PvE. This Stasis turret build uses the Osmiomancy exotic gauntlets so that you can charge up 2 Bleak Watcher grenades at once. So you can throw out so many of these turrets. If you get this up and rolling, you should have absolutely no problem juggling anywhere between 5 and 8 of these stasis turrets on the field at a time. And if you know this build already, if you've used something like this already, you know that 3 of these turrets on the field can cause absolute devastation and havoc among your enemies, and to have 5 or even 8 of them is going to be perfect for when we get this Onslaught activity. You're going to be freezing so many enemies right away, right as they come out, and then shattering them all together. And this artifact this season is perfect for exploiting that and coming up with some really crazy damage numbers and synergies with your teammates. For this build, I'm going to be leaning into the fire and ice kind of fantasy that this artifact mod is already placing right in front of us here. So I'm using my disparity with headstone, and I'm using a Royal Executioner fusion rifle that I have Envious Assassin on and Reservoir Burst, so I can keep getting super huge amounts of multi-kills. And because in the artifact pod right now as well, we are combining the stasis, solar, and strand aspect siphons into one, no matter what I use, no matter what weapon I'm using, I'm going to be popping out tons of orbs to pick up and get that grenade kickstart going for my Bleak Watchers. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm always working towards my next grenade throw. And I mean, really, this artifact this season is insane for a build like this, because not only do Flint Striker and Torch give you increased damage for when you get Radiant and give you a way to get Radiant even without being on a solar subclass, the Pillar of Ice and Hail the Storm help so much with your crowd control. You're going to be shattering all kinds of stuff, slowing things around it, and just making it easier for your Bleak Watcher turrets to freeze everything in the room. It's absolutely insane. That's pretty much all I have for this build right here, but I really could just go on forever. It's just so strong and so good. The next build we're going to be talking about, again, is so strong. It is the Fallen Sunstar Arc Warlock build from my earlier season of Defiance video. And that build is seriously one of my favorites of all time, because that is one of the ways you can give yourself, and not just yourself, but your entire team, some insane ability spam potential. And we'll talk about why here in just a sec. As far as weapons, you want to stick with something that has either Demolitionist or Pugilist, so you can keep churning out more of the Ionic traces, as many as possible. I prefer Demolitionist so I can keep those grenades going all over the place. That's why I'm using this Immortal right here that has Demolitionist on it. And my special weapon, I'm using Delicate Tomb. It's from the video that I made, and it actually creates some insane synergies, generating tons and tons of ionic traces, a guaranteed ionic trace I might add, which gives you a super huge amount of your ability energy and your team ability energy. Tons of this is just going to be flying off of enemies all over the place. Your teammates are going to be like, I don't even need siphon mods. I can't even proc my own abilities. They're all going to be refreshed super fast. The grenade kickstarts and the melee kickstarts, they're not going to need those. And if you're not going to use the Delicate Tomb, use a special weapon with Volt Shot for 2 reasons. Chain Lightning, I mean, I don't really have to say more about that, but for the second reason, I have this build set up so that you can blind enemies with your amplified final blows on your special weapons. Those are going to help you to just keep the focus off of you, and I guess off of your teammates. They're really not going to be shooting you around there in this new Onslaught mode, since everyone's going to be kind of packed super tight in some of these areas. It's going to be really strong for you to keep everybody alive without actually healing them, and it's one of the only ways that this game lets you do that. And so I think it's really, really special and something you should absolutely build into and take advantage of. And in closing for this build, I mean, it's just fantastic. It's super unique, and I just really can't get enough of it myself. So I hope you try it out. Let me know how you like this build down below, and then let's move right on into the next one. Alright, since Onslaught is part of Into the Light, that means that it's going to be available for free-to-play players, which I'm very excited about. I hope it gets a whole bunch of you in here. And if you are a free-to-play player watching this video, and you're like, I can't even get either of those exotics you just talked about, Ember, because I am a free-to-play player, I'm brand new, I've got you covered right here. These are the Sun Bracers. This is an exotic that has been out since Vanilla Destiny 2 and is one of the strongest exotics and a part of one of the strongest builds that there is currently. And I mean, you can pair it with all kinds of fantastic stuff, and no matter what, you're going to be dishing some actually insane damage. So follow me along here. So first, let's go over the weapons. I'm using Conditional Finality, and that is specifically because, again, I want to take advantage of this artifact. This artifact has some insanely good mods for stasis and solar gameplay, and since the Conditional Finality shotgun is both, it makes some really fun interactions happen. Next, you should be using a solar primary. If it's not an exotic primary like Prometheus Lens or like Sunshot, something like that, or Tommy's Matchbook even, you should definitely be using something with Incandescent. We want to spread as much scorch around the battlefield as we possibly can, and Incandescent is a way that you can do that with a legendary weapon. So right here I have my Adept Summoner with Subsistence and Incandescent. It's a great way to keep those scorch stacks going so you can really get after that artifact. And the Sun Bracers here are super unique because they give you a way to get infinite grenades for 5 seconds, but still infinite grenades. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I don't think anyone here will either. It's super fun to use. And so this is going to be really great for ad clear, for ignitions, and just for area control and lockdown. Since we're going to be having this new area in Onslaught where enemies are going to try and congregate, having something like this where you can just give a quick melee, get that kill, and then have infinite solar grenades to throw around. And we're definitely pairing it with the aspect that makes solar grenades gush lava all over the battlefield, and that just is going to cause so much havoc, so many ignitions, and definitely going to deal with any large crowd that you think you might not even be able to handle. And just like all the other builds here, the linchpin is being able to start with an Orb of Power, which eventually they're just going to be all over the field. You're not going to have to worry about it. But to start, you know, we're using our Reaper mods, or you can just use the Siphon mod, the Solar Stasis Strand Siphon mod from the artifact. That will work great. And then getting that snap for infinite grenades. I mean, I don't really have to say more than that. It's just absolutely amazing and so much fun to use. And Guardians, I did say I wanted to keep this one short, so that's going to be where we end it for today. Go ahead and make sure, if you like this video, if you thought you learned something or found a good build that you like to use, slap that subscribe button. Let me know about it in the comments section down below. Let me know which of these builds you're most excited to use, and if you're using a different one, tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Thank you again, Guardians, and until next time, be without form, swift as lightning.